Yo, what's up guys? Riley here. So today, before I get to building my motor, because I finally got the C-clips and, well, the Sherlocks and the Kramm locks key, so I'll finally be able to put my rod and piston assembly together and then build the motor. But right now, I'm gonna try out some TIG welding. So this is my first time ever TIG welding. I just bought this yesterday, AHP Alpha TIG 200X from my buddy AJ, of course. You know, he's got to hook it up. He gave me pretty much everything I need, including a huge tank of argon. So I'm excited to, you know, learn something new. Right now I'm just going to take a thin sheet of aluminum and try to lay some beads on there. They're probably going to be really ugly, but I don't know, I want to learn something new. I'm kind of bored of working on cars. I want to start fabricating stuff for my car, so let's see how it turns out. Got to set this up, got to run it on 220 on the generator because I don't have an outlet for that at this house. I got some really thin aluminum over here. I think it's like 0.025 inches, so like basically a millimeter, or a little bit less maybe, but we got the amps set about 65. And then I got the 3/32 tungsten for the torch over here. All good to go. And then 8 to 15 CFH for my argon. So I'm gonna try. So I got my 4043 filler rod, and I finally have it hooked up to the generator. Hopefully it doesn't turn out terrible, but you know, first time ever doing it, and just kind of wanted to learn a new trade. So see how it goes. What's up guys, it's Riley, and today I'm building my lawnmower. But in all seriousness, today I'm going to be building my KA24DE, soon to be KA24DET from the block up. So this is just going to be the bottom end. I'm going to start off by taking all these bearings out because I just plastic gauged. I'm going to take out all the main studs, clean up all the threads and everything, clean down the block and all the journals really good, and then I'm going to put in the crank, and then I'll plastic gauge the rod bearings just to be sure that everything's going to line up right, and just to make sure that I have all the right clearances. So that's what I'm going to get started with. So yeah. Alright guys, I just want to emphasize how important it is to be as clean and neat as possible when doing this. So I'm taking some brake cleaner and I'm spraying down all the journals. Again, this is the second time I've done it. I took out all the bearings. I'm going to spray down all the journals with some more brake cleaner, wipe it off with a clean towel, make sure everything's super clean. I cleaned up the threads on the ARP main studs, so those are all clean and ready to go. Make sure you use the fastener assembly lube, and also there's going to be 3 long studs. One of them is going to go right here. This is the middle cap. I mean, if you put on the crank cradle, you'll be able to tell. So this is the front of the engine, and the middle one on this side is a long one, and then these 2 are long ones. Basically, the bearings with the oil holes, of course, are going to go on the block side because that's where the oil is going to be pumping through into the journals. So all the ones with the holes will be on the block. Make sure they're all lined up real nice, just so that you can ensure that they're all seated properly. So go ahead and make sure they're all level as well, because basically you slide this little tooth in right here. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. You slide this little tooth in there, and then you want to make sure that they're both sides are completely level, and that's going to make sure that you have the bearing properly seated. And then over here we have our crank cradle without the oil holes. Same kind of idea, just make sure all these are lined up and make sure they're all level and properly seated. Alright guys, so the next step is very important. You're going to want a lot of either like Permatex or Lucas engine lube, engine assembly lube, because without this you're just going to score everything up like crazy. So go ahead and lube up your bearings. I'm going to put quite a bit just because it's not going to hurt anything, and might as well, right? So, wow, I put a lot. Okay. Alright, actually, there's one thing I need to do before I put in the crank that I should have done earlier, but in these little holes there, there's supposed to be oil spurters. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in really quick. Alright, so sadly these are 12-point bolts, and I only have a, what is this, 6-point socket, but I think they can make it work. But basically, I'm going to try to tighten these down a little bit. I don't have the 12-point sockets, so I'm just going to snug them. Alright guys, so if you don't have a 12-point 10mm socket like me, a lot of times the closed end on the wrench is 12-point, and there's plenty of room to get in there and work around with the wrench. It might take you a little while, but it's better than not getting it torqued down and having one of them break off or come loose or something. So just a good little pro tip. Alright, she's in there. So that's a lot of lube, I know, but that's what I'm comfortable with putting on it. And just drop it on. Okay, that was a little not too gentle. Next thing we're gonna do, like I've already said a million times, is put on the nuts for the ARP main studs, or excuse me, the washers. Once you got all the nuts on here, well, the washers, nuts, and make sure that the nuts have plenty of assembly lube. Then basically you're going to torque them down as the instructions say. I'm going to torque them down to 60 foot-pounds in 3 equal steps. And I already know this because I did it like literally a couple days ago. But the torque sequence, I'll put up a little diagram here, but you start in the middle, hit that one, then you go over that one, 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 that one. Got everything in there, torqued down, 60 foot-pounds all around. And now, because it's lubed up, I can do this. Before, when I was plastic gauging, I had no lube. So that's why I wasn't turning the crank. But just go ahead and turn your crank over, make sure there's no binding. And everything looks pretty good. I finally have everything to put together my motor, because, where'd it go? CP was nice enough to send out some C-clips to support the build. Every little thing counts, so I really appreciate them sending those out. It was like the one thing I needed. I had them on my my pistons, and they decided to bend, so they sent me out some regular ones, and I ordered some of the Sherlock ones. and I'm kind of going to go through and show you guys why hopefully the Sherlocks are better. But for now I'm going to open this up and take out the C-clips. So on the right here you can see CP's, I guess you can call it like their regular C-clip. A lot of people say that CP's C-clips are a lot thicker than other people's, and I could vouch for that. I haven't installed any others, but these ones are extremely hard to get on, so hard that my other ones actually bent. Well, some of mine actually bent on these pistons here, and those ones that bent were just the regular C-clips, and they were a total pain in the ass to get in. So I decided to get some of these Sherlocks, which are basically the same thing, but they have this little raised edge here, and with that raised edge you use one of these tools. I think it's like 15 or 14 bucks compared to 45, and these I think were around the same price. So alright guys, so first step with the Kramm locks, you have this little clip here, and what you do with that is you lock it in the groove on one side, and that will hold the wrist pin in place so it won't slide out whenever you're putting it in. But I'm gonna get nice and messy with some lube. So put quite a bit on there. It's all the way against that clip there. So now we're gonna take our first Kramm lock, and it's very important that these clips are like engaged in this little lock hole right here. So you start off by putting the end of the clip in there, and then you push down. It says to, oh, okay. It says to push down to engage it in there. So that seems as though it's engaged. And then basically you take this little tool here, pry it inward and upward. Oh geez. So I think I finally got it. I'm not sure though. If my motor blows up, we'll blame it on these. But I think I got it. So as you can see, it's like, it's locked in that little hole there. The end of the clip is locked in the hole there. And it's kind of out of the way over there. I mean, I guess it's gotta have an open hole. As long as they're locked in place, I'd say they're good to go. And then just kind of push back and forth on your wrist pin, make sure it's not gonna fly out. They seem to be seated in there really well. So that's sweet. I really like these actually. I'm finally gonna put the pistons and rods in the cylinders. This is pretty big for me because I've run into a lot of different obstacles, but it's finally here. So what I'm gonna be using is this beautiful Harbor Freight ring compressor. It comes with the Allen key to tighten and loosen it. A rubber mallet just to kind of set this ring compressor in place and tap in the piston. Then I got some 1040, it's just random oil, it doesn't really matter. Use a thinner oil to help seat the rings whenever you're braking in the motor. I've only ever done this before on a small gas engine, in my small gas engine class, so fingers crossed everything goes well. Nice and lubed up. And then one last thing you want to do before you put the piston in the cylinder is make sure that your rings are clocked so that they're not exactly lined up, otherwise they're not going to seal. And that would suck because then you'd have bad compression on a brand new built motor. So just make sure they're clocked, not lined up anywhere. And here's where the ring compressor comes in. Make sure that the ring compressor is securely seated all the way around. And you take the mallet. Oh, okay. Slide her in there. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright guys, so that was a pretty successful night. It's like 2 in the morning now, just because I'm like extremely OCD about this stuff and I make sure that everything is pretty much perfect, and I just want to go through and make sure I have everything right because it's my first time. But I mean, this thing's looking good. So before I go to bed for the night, I would like to once again thank CP Carillo for their support on the build, for sending out those C-clamps, because honestly this motor would not be where it is right now without you guys. And especially Brian Crower, because they hooked it up with a partial sponsorship and gave me discounted parts for the entire bottom end, so that's a huge help. We're getting pretty close now. I have to have this motor done, or at least, you know, like the head gasket, head bolt, or ARP head studs, and the head valve cover. You know, I want it to be sealed for the 10-hour drive to Ohio. It's just going to be in the bed of my dad's truck. So I want to at least get the head on, the oil pan, and the valve cover, just so that everything's sealed off. But that'll probably be another video because this one's going to be super long. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'll probably make it in the morning, or film in the morning. So I hope you guys are enjoying this build. I know I am a lot. Everything's new for me. You know, I'm gonna get into welding for this build, weld up the downpipe and everything. So this is completely new to me. I'm only 18 years old. Haven't even graduated high school yet. So I mean, all of this stuff, all this hard work, I'm really hoping it pays off. If you just look, I know it looks like a bunch of junk, but it's all high performance parts. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys do enjoy these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. And really just keep watching the build. It's gonna be done hopefully pretty soon. Probably lying to myself, but once I get to Ohio and I get well established there, it's really down to the downpipe and the tune. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll get this thing boosted soon enough. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.